Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we will be recapping our reviews for the month of January 2024. This video will feature three things: a discussion of our favorite coffee this month, as well as any honorable mentions, our upcoming coffee of the month, and anything else pertaining to this channel that we feel is worth discussing or addressing. So let's go ahead and get started with our honorable mentions. And as always, these are in order of when we reviewed them on this channel. And first up, we have the Karatina Wash Processed Kenya from Apollon's Gold out of Tokyo, Japan. And this coffee was our first review of 2024. And it comes from a coffee roaster that really impressed us in 2023 as they continued to deliver with this Kenyan coffee. Had we been able to fit this review in at the end of last year, then there's a strong chance it might have ended up somewhere in our top 10 coffees of 2023 list. But for now, this one sets the benchmark for what we can hope for from Kenyan coffees in the year 2024, as it offered a very clean and sweet forward cup. Unfortunately, for anybody interested in this coffee, it is no longer available for purchase. Next up, we have the Karamo Wash Processed Ethiopia from Coffea Circular out of Gothenburg, Sweden. And Coffea Circular continues to remain one of my favorite coffee roasters in the entire world, as they certainly delivered on this coffee right here. And I said in this review that typically when Coffea Circular releases their own iteration of a coffee that's been very popular, then they oftentimes have my favorite version of that coffee. And that's the case with this one right here, as this one was by far my favorite wash processed Karamo coffee that we've reviewed on this channel up to this point, as it did offer a little bit more bright of a cup than I might have been expecting. However, that was more than made up for by the very, very clean profile that it offered, as well as tremendous sweetness and fruit-forward cup that was present within this one. This, in no regards, was surprising whatsoever, as they continue to be one of the most consistent coffee roasters that I've experienced, and it's been very interesting to hear so many people's feedback about this coffee roaster, as so many people have been mentioning them to me recently and just how much they've enjoyed their coffee. So I'm definitely looking forward to many more reviews we're going to have from this coffee roaster coming up here in the near future. For anybody interested, this coffee is still available for purchase. Next up, we have the Abel Salinas Wash Processed Ecuador from Counterculture out of Durham, North Carolina. And this coffee was our December 2023 coffee of the month. And I was very surprised at the results of this coffee, as I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from it going into the review. Now, this coffee very much sounded like my type of coffee, but it's also been a bit since I've had anything from Counterculture, as once upon a time I used to go to their Friday cuppings. However, it's been quite a while since I've actually had quite a few of their coffees, so I wasn't entirely sure what to expect, especially given that this coffee is something that I wouldn't typically expect to see from this coffee roaster. Nonetheless, they really delivered on it, as it offered a very sweet cup. Of all the coffees that we're discussing here today, this one was by far the sweetest, as it offered so many interesting sugary and tropical aspects that were very much in line with my hopes and expectations for this coffee. Now, the Abel Salinas coffees are ones to keep an eye out for, as we're going to be discussing one in our next review, and then we also have one that we just started working on as well. So definitely keep an eye out for those, as these coffees are ones that I feel like will definitely leave a mark this year, as so many people have already tried them and been very impressed with them so far. This one, at the time of recording, is still available for purchase. And that leads us to my favorite coffee this month, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. It is the Reina 41S Wash Processed Panama from Say Coffee out of Brooklyn, New York. And just because it is a Panamanian geisha from Say doesn't necessarily mean that it's a coffee that I will automatically like, as I've actually had some mixed results with their geishas over the years. Some of them I've really enjoyed, but some I haven't necessarily been the biggest fan of. This one is one that is one of my favorites that we've ever reviewed from Say on this channel. It could actually possibly be my favorite coffee that I have ever reviewed from Say, as this one offered such a wonderfully clean profile right at the start. Definitely the cleanest of the coffees that we're going to be discussing in this video. But in addition to that, it offered plenty of sweetness as well as depth and just complexity, as not only did it have some great fruit profiles to it and the expected florality, but in addition to that, it had that fruity pebble-like attribute that I typically associate with a lot of Panamanian geishas, especially ones that do come from Hacienda La Esmeralda, as this coffee right here reminded me of some of the earlier iterations of Hacienda La Esmeralda coffees I have had in my life. As of right now, this is definitely my favorite coffee of this year, and I think it faces an uphill battle. Not only is it in one of the most stacked categories for our top 10 coffees of 2024 list, being in the Panamanian category, but it also has the burden of being one of the earliest coffees that we've reviewed this year. That being said, I did want to give massive credit to the producer and Say for delivering on this coffee, as I found this to be an absolutely wonderful experience. This one, unfortunately, is no longer available for purchase. That takes us to our January 2024 coffee of the month, and it is the Genaro Hernandez, the wash processed Honduras from Blind Tiger Coffee, as this coffee won both our Instagram and YouTube polls. And I was quite happy to see this one win. It's the one I wanted to win the most, not necessarily because it's the coffee that I expected to enjoy the most, but mostly because I feel like I want to give Blind Tiger Coffee some more reviews, as I often state they're one of the more underrated American coffee roasters, especially given the experiences and reviews that we've had from them. I actually haven't had a bad coffee from them in the past. Now, I've said that their profile probably isn't for everybody, but the feedback I've gotten about this coffee roaster has been almost universally positive, as so many people have enjoyed their coffees. And one big note I did want to say about this coffee roaster is that Charlie has reached out to me in the past, and Charlie's the owner of this company, and we've just had some very brief discussions, but he was nice enough to send me this mug as a thank you for some of the reviews we've done of their coffee in the past. So I did want to showcase that, as we now have a couple of Blind Tiger coffee mugs. And in addition to that, we did get some samples of some of the other coffees, and obviously I can't review those coffees since they were sent to us for free. I did want to give a shout out to the Seco, the wash processed Ethiopian coffee that they do have, as I found that to be a very impressive coffee. And I know a lot of people ask me what's a good wash processed coffee, and that's one that I was really impressed by, and I kind of wish I would have reviewed it. I kind of wish I would have purchased a bag alongside of this one, so I had an opportunity to review that one as well. It offered tremendous sweetness and clarity, and a lot of the just nice intensity that a lot of people hope for wash processed Ethiopian coffees. So I did want to bring that one at the forefront into a lot of people's attention, because that's one of the bigger questions I get asked, is who has really good wash processed Ethiopian coffees? And more often than not, I feel like Blind Tiger does a very good job of delivering on those. This one right here, as you can see, is not open yet, so I haven't had a chance to try it. I'm still waiting on it to rest a couple of more days before opening up this one. The theme behind this coffee of the month was focusing on Honduran coffees, and I'm going to try to do origins or varieties a little bit more this year, as that's something that was suggested to us. And since we've done, I would say, somewhat of a poor job representing Honduran coffees over the last year, it felt like a good opportunity to kind of jump into that, as there were a lot of interesting Honduran coffees that I was able to find, this one included. And once again, I feel like this might make for a pretty interesting review, given that I've had some pretty positive experiences with this coffee roaster. All right, and then we have a couple of notes. I'm going to run through this one real quick, because I'm sure a lot of people want an update on our grinder situation, and I have started working on our brand new grinder. So obviously we received it last month. I didn't have too much time to work on it, but I've had the fortunate benefit of having some extra samples, either from Coffee Circular or from Blind Tiger Coffee, that given me enough coffee to kind of work through the grinder and see if I can get it right to a point that I'm happy with the coffee. So it's a work in progress, so the vast majority of our reviews still remain the same as of this moment. Now, the final thing I did want to discuss, and this is a very exciting one, as we were nominated for a Sprudge, and at the time of release of this video, the awards are still open for voting, so I wanted to implore anybody that might still have a vote out there to vote for us. As I'm going to be completely honest, I was kind of surprised that we did get the nomination, as we're, I believe, the smallest of the people that were nominated for the award itself. We were nominated in the best social media category alongside some real big heavy hitters, including James Hoffman and Lance Hedrick. So that's to say that I would be really surprised if we won. So I'm just extremely appreciative of the fact that we got the nomination. So I wanted to give a massive shout out to and thank you to everybody that did nominate us and everybody that has supported us. In addition to the wonderful nomination, we've received a nice influx of subscribers as well that I'm sure came from that nomination. So anybody that is new around here, I wanted to say welcome. I'm very happy to have you. And as you can see, we're very consistent on our coffee discussions. We really like to take the feedback from you guys, as we do have such a wonderful coffee community here that's very direct. And I really appreciate everything that they have done for us. And like I said, it would be really cool if we won the award, not necessarily expecting to, but it just getting nominated in general was such a huge honor. One other thing I wanted to add to that, since we've received such a nice influx of subscribers recently, for anybody that's not aware, we do our tier list at the big milestone. So once we do hit that 2K subscriber mark, we're going to do our next coffee roaster tier list, which I know everybody is dying to see. And for that tier list specifically, we're going to be including a lot of American and Canadian coffee roasters that we haven't featured before, and we featured more in reviews recently. And there are some names I know a lot of people will want to see tier listed, including Flower Child, September, Hydrangea. So I'm also going to try to get more of those coffees from those coffee roasters so I can have a better idea when we actually do tier list them when the time does come. So thank you everybody for the support, but I'm going to leave this video at that. If you guys are enjoying the content, give this video a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. This right here has been a recap of our reviews in the month of January 2024. Thank you for watching.